Okay, here's part two of the test, which was much more challenging, but all of you did really well. So I just want you to remember the problem-solving process that we did in class, where you know what you're trying to find, you find the key information, then you solve it using a problem-solving strategy, and then you check your answer. Okay, we're going to use that the whole time. So first I'm going to just read through this first part, make sure I understand the question, or the scenario. There's still controversy about whether or not Pluto should be considered a planet, although planets are mainly defined by their orbital path, the condition that prevented Pluto from remaining a planet. The issue of size is something to consider. And the table below lists the planets including Pluto and their approximate diameters in meters. So that's the information I get. Part 1 wants me to name the planets, so I need to name the planets in order from smallest to largest. Remember, when we are comparing numbers in scientific notation, the first thing we do is look at exponents. So I'm going to look at all the smallest exponents, 10 to the 6, 10 to the 6, 10 to the 6. Those are all kind of the same magnitude. Since they have the same magnitude, now I'm going to look at the lead factor, 4.88, 6.79, 2.3, and I'm going to organize them by size. So I have Pluto, which is the smallest. Then I have Mercury, and then Mars. Then I'm going to look at the next largest exponent, which is 10 to the 7th power. I have 10 to the 7th with Venus, Earth, Uranus, and Neptune. And then from there I go to the lead factor. It looks like Venus is next. Then Earth. Then Neptune. And Uranus. And then my last two, 10 to the 8th, 10 to the 8th. Saturn is a little bit smaller than Jupiter. And that's how you order them. You didn't need to change them into standard notation, which a lot of you did. It's much faster if you don't. Okay. Letter B, part B, asks you to compare how many times larger is Jupiter than Pluto. So I'm going to look at Jupiter and Pluto. Where's Jupiter? It's right there. And Pluto's right here. I want to know how many times larger Jupiter is than Pluto. Times larger means divide, because I just don't want to know how much larger. I want to know how many times larger. So I'm going to divide Jupiter by Pluto, sorry. And remember, when I divide in scientific notation, I subtract exponents. So I have 8 minus 6 is 10 to the 2nd power, and I divide lead factors. 1.43 divided by 2.3 is about 0.622. All right? And then I want to change that to scientific notation. It becomes 6.22 times 10 to the 1st power, or about 62 times larger Jupiter is than Pluto. So Jupiter is, and my answer statement is going to be Jupiter, sorry I didn't give you enough room, is 62 times larger than Pluto, about. Not exact, but about. Okay? So part B or C says, again, comparing only diameters, find out about how many times larger Jupiter is compared to Mercury. So now I'm going to take Jupiter and Mercury this time. So I'm going to have 1.43 again times 10 to the 8th. But this time I'm going to divide it by Mercury, which is the second smallest planet, which is 4.88 times 10 to the 6th. Again, I subtract exponents, so I get 10 to the 2nd power. I divide lead factors, and that is about 0.293, I think. 0.293 times 10 to the 2nd power. I change that to scientific notation, which is 2.93 times 10 to the 1st, which is about 29 times larger. So Jupiter, my answer statement is Jupiter is about 29 times larger than Mercury. So I gotta move that up, it's hard for me to write. Times larger than Mercury. Okay, so remember, answer statements are really important. And then the last part of the problem solving strategy, I'm going to highlight my answers so you can see them. Jupiter is 62 times larger than Pluto, and Jupiter is about 29 times larger than Mercury. Is to check my answer. Well, just checking, 1 divided by 2 is about a half. That's about a half. 1 divided by 4 is about 0.25, and that's about 0.25. So my answers are about right. Okay, so D and E now want you to use that information and do some critical thinking. So D says, assume you're a voting member of the International Astronomical Union and the classification of Pluto is based entirely on length of diameter. So that's all we're considering. We don't care about orbits. Would you vote to keep Pluto? Would you vote to keep Pluto a planet or reclassify it? Why or why not? So now I just got to make a decision. You could use any, you could say yes or no, it doesn't matter, but I would reclassify. Yes, I would reclassify. The only thing you need is to use numbers to support your answer. Reclassify Pluto because it is about half the size of the next smallest planet. Sorry about my writing, I'm trying to go fast. Planet Mercury. Now that would be a 5. I give a number to support. If you go in a little bit more depth, you would get a 6 on that one. Okay, but I just want to give you an understanding. You couldn't get a 5 unless you use numbers, use some math to justify your thinking. Okay, you got to use a number in there. And E, just for fun, Scott, let's see what Scott wants to do. Wondered how big a planet would be if its diameter was the square of Pluto's diameter. If the diameter of Pluto in terms of meters were squared, what would the diameter of the new planet be? Write the answer in scientific notation. And then there's another part. Do you think it would meet any size requirements for a planet? Would it be larger or smaller than Jupiter? So there's a lot to this. First thing I want to do is square Pluto's. I want to square Pluto's diameter. So I have 2.3 times 10 to the 6th squared. Remember, when you square, or when you raise anything to a power to a power, you distribute it to everything inside. So it's 2.3 squared times 10 to the 6th squared. Raising a power to a power, I multiply, so that's 10 to the 12th. And then I need to do 2.3 squared. And 2.3 squared is 5.29. So Pluto's new diameter would be 5.29 meters. That's part 1. That's the new diameter. So I did that part. Check that off. Do you think it would meet any size requirement? Yes, it would meet any requirement. It's so big. It's way bigger than the largest planet. It would meet any requirement, and it is bigger than Jupiter. Again, this would be a 5 because you understand how to do it. The defense isn't great, but you understand it. Bigger than Jupiter. All right. So that's the first question. I'm going to stop the video and do another video for question 2 in case you